You know, I told them in the locker room that, you know, think about all the games we've watched in the first couple of days of March Madness and how many games wasn't the pretty game. It wasn't, oh man, they were really clicking. It was the grittier team. It was the one who could get stop after stop. And even when things weren't going well offensively, you could find a way to play to your anchors. And for us, that's defense, that's rebounding, to take care of the basketball, those little things, passion plays. We had 71 passion plays today. I think that's what carried us. I gave the example of Illinois-Chattanooga. That happened to be the game on before we went. Illinois was down the entire time. In the last part of the game, they held them scoreless, I think, for 4 minutes. Well, we held Irvine scoreless for the last 3 minutes and 50 seconds. And, I think that obviously wasn't the prettiest game for us on the offensive end. Lots to learn from, lots to continue to grow in. But we don't get a chance to play on Sunday if we weren't gritty, tough, committed to the defensive end of the floor, figuring out ways to make plays that maybe weren't how we anticipated, but we found a way to make them anyway. So from that perspective, I'm thankful that our anchor carried us through and we get another chance to get better and another chance to compete.
Coach, I believe it was in the second quarter, there was about 7.5 minutes where you just held Irvine scoreless. What did you see from that defensive stance?
Well, I think it was the simple things, and it was winning our one-on-one battles, and that's not just on the ball. They're usually 42% of their shots are threes. And so if they made a hard two over the top of us, we could live with that. Where they got a little momentum and made a comeback is when we started to overhelp. Or we lost track of who am I guarding, what's her assignment, and so really challenging them, their one-on-one battles, and I think that's what made the difference. When we had those segments where we got stop after stop after stop, I think we had 8 kills for the game, where a kill is 3 stops in a row. That's a good number for us. It may have even been more than that, but really that was the difference in those possessions, was us winning those one-on-one battles, sitting down and guarding and making them take one hard shot. Because when you're also doing that, you're also in rebounding position. And so now you're in a position to box out, be able to be more physical, and that was really good. I just want us to be able to be rewarded from that. I mean, when you get that many stops in a row, it should create some more easy offensive opportunities, especially in transition. And so the good news is we found a way to do that. And even though we weren't being rewarded on the offensive end, we kept at it on the defensive end.
Amari and Natalie, this one's for you. I mean, obviously it's a win or go home because it's the tournament, but with was there added stress about potentially being your last game here at UCLA? Did that fuel you guys to perform the way you did?
We feel like we were playing our best basketball going into Pac-12 tournament, and we were in Pac-12 tournament. So we're really just trying to continue to do that and take care of what we can control, and we know that the outcome is gonna be what we want.
Yeah, I feel like there's I didn't really feel pressure, but it was just like fun to be out there with the girls again. We've been practicing for a while now, just playing against ourselves and our scout guys, and just being able to play against an opponent here in Poly with the team. Just really grateful, and it was just fun.
Thank you.
Coach, that 14-0 run in the second quarter, I think there were 11 rebounds in a row that went to you guys, no matter what side it was on. How important was that to the defensive effort, the offense, and just rebounding as a whole?
Well, I think it was, really big, and we thought we needed to dominate. Our goal was to have 50 points in the paint. I think we actually got the ball to the paint a lot. We just weren't as productive as we needed to be on that front. But I think what you said is just on that run, it just starts with defense and rebounding and getting out and going. But, it never felt like we found a rhythm. So, I'll have to go back to the film because it never felt pretty. It never felt like, ooh, we're cooking now. We finally found it. So, but thankful for that 14-0 run. I'm just not sure I can see a very consistent theme that we can replicate. But I think that's the great thing about this is that we found a way to win, and we still have lots that we can grow from and lots that we can learn. And this team really does respond to, like, if there's a theme there and we're able to see it on film tonight and present it tomorrow, they make a pretty good effort to make sure that they implement that the next time around. And so, I'll let you know.
Amara, you scored 7 points, 7 rebounds, pretty much just in the last few minutes. How important was that, and what was your mindset going into those last few minutes when it was still close?
Just to finish strong, I got in foul trouble unfortunately, so just making my presence felt in the time that I did get out there, and just making sure we got the win.
And then for Amari and Natalie, looking back at the 2015 WNIT, way before you guys were here, it almost seemed kind of clear that was a young team, a freshman team, doing well in that tournament would help the program moving forward because everyone was coming back next year. But you guys are both out of eligibility, losing a bunch of seniors. What would winning in this tournament, depending on how far you go, what does that do for you personally and for the program?
Yeah, we had actually seen a video a couple of days ago during film of that last WNIT team, and just remember Coach Corey said that team and winning that really created momentum for the next couple of years. And so we just want to continue the momentum and create that kind of legacy for the next teams.
What was the other thing I said, Nat? What is the other thing it does for the team, for people like you and Mari?
Yeah, I mean, every single game is an opportunity for seniors like us, and like Mari said, we want to be playing our best at the end of the year, so just playing our best.
I mean, the other thing we actually said, she forgets, is that it also is a great opportunity for our seniors that want to go pro. That, we had a senior on that team that really helped her contract the next year. She put together some really good games, strung them together, and, you have a night like Natalie had with 5 threes, and, that's pretty good. And so, that gives the seniors an opportunity to increase their stock, so to speak, and catch people's attention. And so there's opportunities for the now as well as building things for our program in the future.
Yeah, quick question for the players. So Natalie, obviously your offense was huge today, but you also had a season high 3 blocks, and you were plus 29. So I guess what can you say about your intangibles and your ability to stay in the game even when you're not shooting ball the best as a team?
We really pride ourselves on the little things, that's part of the standard of the program. So even if our offense isn't going well, we know as players when we're out there, we need to impact the floor in other ways, whether that's blocks like Nat got, rebounds, little things, deflections. It's definitely bigger than scoring.
Yeah, just Coach Corey had emphasized passion plays for the whole team, just really focusing on those passion plays.
And then the second is, every time everybody in the team to cut it to 3 points, you guys responded pretty much every time. Was that kind of the goal in your mind to keep them from not taking the lead at all in the second half?
I wouldn't say it was a goal. Of course, you want to keep the lead, but I think that we've been in every position before. So when we're out there, we just know not to get rattled and just to keep going. I mean, teams are going to go on their run, so it's just up to us to respond, and we did that tonight.
And I have a quick question for Coach. Sorry, this is a bit off topic, but I spoke with Kiki Rice a couple of days ago. Obviously she won Gatorade Player of the Year.
Yeah.
So what can you say about her as a player, person, and what your team's performance in this tournament shows to the new recruits next year?
Well, we have I'm obviously really proud of Kiki Rice, and she's gotten about every award you can have: Naismith Player of the Year, Gatorade Player of the Year. Her team won the national championship, 28-0. I'm not sure what else she could do, but the thing I love about her the most is that she cares about winning. She cares about making a program better. She cares about coming to UCLA and cutting down nets. She's humble, and she obviously appreciates the recognition. That's a really wonderful thing. But this tells you about her. I think it was 2 nights ago. They surprised her, and they brought all the people together that poured into her life. Trainers, coaches, mentors, and got together just to say thank you to them. And that's the kind of human she is, that it's not enough just to have the recognition herself. It's an opportunity to say thank you. It's an opportunity to make an impact on others. She's going to be a game changer on the court, there's no doubt, but she's going to be a game changer off the court. And, she's an elite student. She wants to make a service impact on her community. Obviously we're really excited to have her on the hardwood. But, every time I say something to her, she puts it I can't wait to play with my new teammates. I can't wait to, get to know London better. I can't wait to have Christine on the floor with me. The list goes on and on. We have 6 kids coming in on that #1 recruiting class. class. But obviously, this is the first Naismith or Gatorade, National Gatorade Player of the Year that women's basketball has ever signed here at UCLA. There's only been 3 on the men's side in the whole history of UCLA basketball. So it obviously is a really tremendous thing, and I do believe our community is going to really be excited about watching this team moving forward, and obviously Kiki Rice is leading the way in that.
Awesome. Thank you so much.
You bet.
Hey, Amari. Looking at your numbers tonight, we see the 13 points, the 12 rebounds. But I think, one of the parts of your game, especially, not just tonight, but throughout the season, we see the 3 assists, is your ability to find, the open teammate, whether it's, you in the high post, you're finding cutters along the baseline, or kicking it out to the open shooter. If you just talk about that part of your game a little bit, and, how that opens up the floor, for everybody else on the team.
I really pride myself as a player on my basketball IQ, and my teammates just make it easier because I have scorers all around me, like Matt here. So just being able to play through me and like when I get the ball, knowing when it's time to score and when it's time to find an open teammate, it just makes the game flow for us, and I just want to keep doing that.
And I got a quick one for you too, Coach. Throughout the season, we've talked about the players in and out of the lineup, the injuries that you've had. But in terms of, getting to this point here, getting into postseason play, just what have you learned about this team? What have you learned about this group?
That they're very resilient and they're willing to eliminate excuses. And if they weren't committed to that, we would not be here right now. There were times, I remember there was a time where our medical team was like, I don't, I'm not sure how much more you can go. And our team was like, no, we can find a way. We got this. We're going to get in there. And I just think they have shown me, but more importantly themselves, how tough they are and how they're willing to say, you know what, I am committed to something bigger than myself. My commitments are bigger than my feelings. And we really would not be in this place at this time if they had not made those hard character decisions to choose the team above themselves, to continue to keep fighting, to say, okay, I need to play a different role. Okay, let's go. How can I adjust? And I think their selflessness and their resilience and their willingness to just not allow excuses from the outside to infiltrate our team, that's been the thing that's carried us.
Coach LT for TG Sports.
Good to see you.
As I was just watching the Hamlins play, and if I remember correctly, you had a group of really young players back in 2015 that were scrappy. So how much do they kind of remind you of that particular team as far as scrappiness and fighting? And then also, if somebody had told you, oh yes, Charisma is going to have more assists in the first half than points, what would you say to that?
Well, I really appreciate Charisma. I think Charisma, she guarded their best player. I think she's, playing on it, not 100%, and she's just finds a way and wanted that assignment. We were going to switch back and forth, and she was just like, I got it, and so I appreciate that, number one. Number two, I think playing the point guard is not her first choice. And she's doing it because it's what our team needs from her. But one of the things that's really cool about that is I do think she's become a better basketball player from it. And her ability to pass. Just when I was walking over here, our theme this week was when she gets downhill on film, to know that probably her pass is not going to be in front of her, it's going to be behind her. And she hit 2 to Nat, where she flipped it back and got 1 to Mari, and Mari didn't make that particular one, but to me, that's like, you wouldn't have done that last year, Charisma, and I just think her continued growth in that area is really big, and, I think, there's very few skills that she isn't pretty darn good at, and I think that's the one I'm challenging her the most on, is passing. Being a crisp passer, widening her vision, really using her IQ to make an easier shot for somebody else, and it's fun to see her assist numbers reflect growth in that area.
And then also the comparison between
the two teams.
Yes,
It's interesting. The thing that we both the teams have in common is they had to really deal with unmet expectations and disappointment. We had the #1 schedule in the country that year.
That's right.
And that was probably my fault. I think that probably I overscheduled for such a young team. We had 6 freshmen, and Jordan Canada was starting at the point guard spot, and You know, I remember after the Texas game here that we had lost, and it was a battle. We were getting better, but we weren't getting rewarded yet. And I just remember seeing in her eyes, like, this is not what I thought it was going to be. This is really hard. And I think that's exactly, we thought we were going to have one of the most deepest, talented teams we've had here this year. And, you know, some of the things out of our control, that didn't end up happening, and we had to really work through the disappointment, work through the hard. You know, I always say that you got to lean into the hard, that pressure is a privilege, and you have to lean into that if you want to make diamonds someday. And so I think that both of those teams had to make that really hard choice. And, you know, I'll be ready to have a new challenge, though, next year.
Thank you. Appreciate it.
All right, thank you, everybody.
Well, thank you all for being here. We really appreciate it, and thank you for covering the sport. We need you all, and hopefully we'll get to see you on Sunday. Thank you.